Okay, on tonight's edition of Homework Help, we're going to be working on setting equal, solving systems by substitution, setting equal. I'm going to do questions 2, 3, 7, and 10. I'm going to do it on my paper because there's not enough room to do it on this one. So let's take a look. All right, so the first one we're going to do is number 2. Number 2 says y equals x and y equals negative x plus 2. So remember the first step in setting equal is I take the part that the mx plus b half of the equation and I set those two equal to each other. So I have x equals negative x plus 2. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to add, and if we want to put our invisibles there, I'm going to add 1x to both sides to zero this out. Now I have 2x equals 2. I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 1. Okay, so now that I've got that solved, I'm going to take that back to the first equation. You can use the first or the second equation. It really honestly doesn't matter. I just like to use the first. I like to do things in a certain order. So I use the first one to find y, and I use the second one to confirm that I'm doing it right. Okay, so now I have y equals x. Well, x equals 1, so y equals 1. Well, I'm done. Okay, so now I think that my answer is 1, 1. I'm going to confirm it by substituting in here. Okay, 1 equals negative 1 plus 2. Well, negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Does 1 equal 1? Sure does. So my final answer is x, comma, y. Okay, that's number 2. All right, let's try number 3. Number 3 is interesting. This one is x equals 3y minus 10, x equals 2y minus 5. Now this one you couldn't do in your calculator because look, you notice it's not in y equals mx plus b format. But I can use kind of the same procedure to solve it. So while yes, this is my backup plan, like we said in our notes, this is our backup plan for when we have a system that we can't that's in slope-intercept form that we can't use in our calculator. It also works anytime we have two equations that equal the same variable. So in this case, both of these equal x. So I can set them equal to each other to solve. Okay? So now I'm going to do 3y minus 10 equals 2y minus 5. And again, I'll do the same thing that I always do. I'm going to isolate the y. Negative 5 plus 10 is positive 5. I'm going to subtract 2y. I know that's a weird looking y. I don't know what happened there, y'all. So I have 1y equals 5. So that means y equals 5. Now notice this time I found the y first. Remember that when I'm writing down my final inequality, that I found y first. That does not mean y is going to be the first number in not my inequality in my coordinate. It's not going to be the first number in the coordinate because my coordinates go x, comma, y. So just remember that. That's where you might make a mistake here. Okay? So we're going to go back to the first equation. X equals 3y minus 10. And we're going to substitute. So I have x equals 3 times 5 minus 10. 3 times 5 is 15 minus 10. So that means x equals 5. Okay, now I know the first two, we had 1, 1 and 5, 5. It's not always going to be that way. Okay, it's just worked out that way. All right, so now I'm going to go back to this final equation. I'm going to check and make sure I did it right. I'm going to do a final substitution to see if I did it right. X equals 2y minus 5. X is 5. 2 times y, which is also 5, and again, it won't always be that way, minus 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Does 5 equal 5? Well, it sure does. So that means that I've done this correctly. My coordinate is 5, 5. Because this is x and this is y. Okay? All right. Let's try the next one. The next one I'm going to do is number 7. Okay? Now, you should right away have a theory about what the answer to number 7 is going to be. Number 7 is y equals 2x plus 8 and y equals 2x minus 5. Okay, you should immediately be thinking, something's going on here. You should notice that these have the same slope and be thinking that these are parallel lines. Parallel lines have no solution. Let's confirm it mathematically, okay? I'm going to put the parts, the mx plus b parts, so 2x plus 8 equals 2x minus 5. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides to get this isolated, and then I end up with 8 equals negative 5. Does 8 equal negative 5? No, it does not. This is not a true statement. And since it's not a true statement, I have no solution. Now, if I had gotten a true statement, so like if I had gotten 0 equals 0 or negative 5 equals negative 5, then it would be infinitely many solutions. If my statement is true, it's infinitely many solutions. If my statement is false, it's no solution. Okay? Let's take a look at this last one that I'm going to do, which is number 10. And number 10 is a word problem. Now remember, I told you in the notes that the last step is to write it as a coordinate. But if I have a word problem, I'm going to need a word answer. Okay? So let's take a look at this. It says, Colin plans to join a fitness facility. Hold on, let me bust out my ruler. my highlighter. Colin plans to join a fitness facility. The Wellness Center charges a one-time fee, of $400, and monthly dues of $5. Okay? Family Fitness doesn't have a registration fee, but charges monthly dues of $30. After how many months are both the same? Okay, so there's a lot going on there. So let's take some notes. Remember, we've read and underlined for our rulers, okay? So we did our reading and underline. Now we got to list what we know, okay? So here's what I know. I know that we have two centers. I have wellness, and I have family fitness. Again, I'm just substituting. The final question they want me to answer is, when are they going to be equal? Okay? So I need to figure out, what does Wellness Center do and what does Family Fitness Center do? Okay, well, Wellness, they have a one-time fee of $400, a monthly dues of $500. Okay, so if I were to write an equation, I would say that that was y equals 5x plus 400, where x is the number of months, because they charge $5 per month, and then they have a one-time fee of $400. When I take that $5 a month plus $400, that tells me how much it costs. Now, and you can tell how many months will the cost be the same. So they kind of, in the final question, tell you what your variables are, months and cost. Okay? So let's look at Family Fit. Family has no registration fee, but they have monthly dues of $30. So their y equals 30x. Okay? So now I need to figure out when they are equal. And since I'm going to be using the setting equal strategy, I do 5x plus 400 equals 30x. Now I could put this in my calculator, but I may have to scroll a lot to get there. Okay? So let's try and get this isolated, get this by itself. Okay? Well, I already have the 30 by itself over here, so I'm just going to subtract 5x from both sides. I get 400 equals 25x. Okay? Now I'm going to divide both sides by 25, and I get 400 divided by 25, that's 16. So 16 equals x. So I'm just going to say 16 equals x is the number of months. The reason I'm putting it up here is because, remember, word problem, word answer. So I'm going to have a word answer, so I need that 16 associated with the number of months. All right? Hang on one second. I'm going to shut the door. Okay. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Remember, word problem, word answer, so I want to make sure I know what 16 represents, okay? So now that I know what x is, now I'm going to use x to find y. Well, I could use this equation, but doesn't this one look easier? Doesn't it look like it would be easier to just plug in x for this one? I'm going to do that. Y equals 30x, which means it's y equals 30 times 16. Okay, so I'm going to do 30 times 16, and I get 480. Okay, so now I know what the answers are, but I want to check. I want to use this last equation to make sure I'm right. Again, it doesn't take long to check this. It takes a lot longer to do it over again. So let's do it right. So I have y equals 5x plus 400. Y is 480. X is 16. Sorry about that. I had a moment. Plus 400. Well, let's see what 5 times 16 is. 5 times 16 is 80. 80 plus 400 is 480. 480 equals 480, so I have done my math correctly. So, I know that these are the right answers, but I'm not going to write 16 and 480. I'm not going to write an ordered pair. I'm going to say, so it says, after how many months will the cost of both fitness facilities be the same? In 16 months, the cost of both facilities will be $480. Okay? Remember, when I write a word explanation, and for a system, it has to explain both x and y. So this is my x and that is my y. And I have explained, I have accounted for both of them when I use my word explanation. All right? The rest of it will be for you to do for homework. Good luck.